Yeah,
Our work takes both hands.
Yeah, that is how people's brains will go. I think it's how mine goes. Maybe I shouldn't speak for everybody. Hey, just shit your pants a little, like hoping it wasn't going to blow, right? Like,
I could have shit a diamond.
Like that could be a case where they tried that so long and nobody was ever wearing those.
No.
That they're just like, well, why are we putting those?
Did you ever take it out of the case?
Well, welcome to the Ash Hour After Work podcast for all the trades and tradespeople out there. I am one of your hosts, Jason. With me, as always, in the job trailer is John. Say hello, John.
Good morning.
What's going on today, buddy?
Just another day.
Back for another weekend job trailer, because that's how life works, in case you don't know, people.
Yeah, because we're actually in the trades and we have full-time jobs that we still got to do.
Right, yeah. This isn't just what we do. Like, we got jobs. Which continue to expect us to show up in order to get paid. So
Right.
Here we are.
I like being gainfully employed.
Yes, I like being gainfully employed, especially with an employer that treats their employees well. I hope everybody has that. And if you are working for a company that doesn't treat you good, go to a different company.
Find another one.
Yeah, unless they're paying you a whole like bunch load more than you're worth. In that case, decision's yours. But that don't happen too often in trades.
No.
I don't know any.
Nope. No, they like making money on getting blood from a stone sometimes.
Yes, I definitely think that's the case sometimes. But hey, maybe that's why you look at union versus non-union. Who knows?
Never know.
So I was thinking today, man, we could go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, shoot.
Safety.
How deep of a rabbit hole do we want to go on this?
So look, when you talk about safety, all right, let me start by saying it's crucially important that we have all the varying levels of safety on our job sites for every trade.
Right.
Okay. It would be like, 1903 with half the people going to work construction to die in a year, whatever the number was, right? Again, we're not statisticians. I'm just, joking. But I mean, it was a much bigger number of people getting seriously injured and killed before safety started to come into case. So I'm not against safety. Safety is great. And there's so many varying levels too. I mean, you got OSHA, you got the person on the job site. Most companies have a safety coordinator of some kind looking out for us,
And they get a lot of heat, dude.
Some of them do, yeah. I've had almost all good experiences with all mine. Current one included. Like, I mean, anybody who wants to get me home in one piece, good on you. Like, thanks for doing that job. Because, I mean, not every company, but some companies and some trades would certainly take advantage of people if those safety measures weren't in place.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm sure most companies, the vast majority, want everybody to be safe. Like any injury, any mistake that causes damage even is a costly thing that they don't want to have to deal with, and they don't want nobody injured.
No. I'm Googling.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking up some facts for this. Actually,
Sorry for the pause there.
That was a really awkward pause, and sorry. I'm trying to look up a little bit of statistics before we really dive deep into this conversation.
Yeah, I had to let John just hang on that one for a minute there, so he realized I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Great podcasting, folks. Dead silence. Everybody wants to hear a bunch of that.
Oh yeah.
I bet you thought you hit pause on your phone by mistake.
My bad.
Yeah, if you pulled your phone out of your pocket for that, DM us. Tell us.
God damn it, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for the long pauses. I keep thinking something's wrong. Fucking earphones are dead again. Fuck. Anyway, sorry about that. But I mean, yes, lots of people get crap about safety. Well, and there's some reasons behind that, I would think. It would certainly, safety on job sites might possibly go into the toilet really quick if all of a sudden OSHA pulled up stakes and just said, fuck it, we're not dealing with your complaints anymore.
Right.
Like that would be bad, right? And same as, we all complain, oh, this job suit wants you wearing hard hats. There's nothing that, those sort of things, right? We all have those complaints where we feel like it's more than what's necessary at that moment, and they just have arbitrarily decided that's what's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can all relate to that. Like some of it's crazy, right? Now, mine, and I've talked with people about this before. My biggest hang up for some reason when I think about safety is the 3 points on the ladder shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, listen, I understand what you're saying. If you're going up on top of something, tie everything on a bucket and then get up there and what? Hang over the edge of a cooler?
Right.
And drag that stuff up on a bucket because you want me to maintain 3 points of contact. But now I got to lean over the side of whatever I'm up on to bucket that up.
Right.
And according to your rules, I got to have a barrier like 16 or whatever feet back from the edge. Like,
Right.
why are you tying my hands in this ladder thing? Like, I don't know why I always seem to fall on this one, but this is the one that just seems so simplistic, and they always bring it up. 3 points. Man, I got stuff to do. Like, can you stop with the ladder shit already?
Yeah. Well, and okay. Yeah. Oh God. We have to do work on the ladder,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Our work takes both hands.
Yeah. Right. What happens when you're working on? Like, am I supposed to be holding the ladder and trying to screw this in? But what am I holding up with my head? Like, that's not safe. Like, right.
Right. Yeah. Well, fuck your 3 points.
Right.
content.
I
I'm
understand
sorry.
sometimes they're talking about an extension ladder, like a 10 or 12 footer if you're up in the air. Yeah. Okay. But
Yeah. Come on.
like, do you really think that's? I mean, I get it. All right. It's a lot of injuries are falling off a ladder, going
Yeah.
up and down. They're serious about it because that's a real common one, right?
Right.
Real common.
Right.
I mean, everybody knows that sick feeling in their stomach when you've been using an 8-foot ladder all day and then you climb up a 10, and when you're coming down, you try to skip that last step and go right to the floor, right? Like,
yeah.
we've all been there.
Yep.
Right.
Multiple times.
And that could have just as easily been a fall if you had something in your hand and you didn't have 3 points. Like, I understand, right?
Right.
I'm not saying it's a crazy ask, but it's not conducive to doing work most of the time on a ladder.
No. No.
Just to get up there and, like you said, using 2 hands to do your job.
Right. Well, the one I like the best about the whole ladders is, hey, once you get up that ladder, you have to tie off above your head.
Right.
Guess what? There is nothing to tie off to. And there is a false ceiling that is at 8 feet. And then the roof deck is at another like 15. You ain't getting above that. What do you want me to do? Tie off to the roof deck that's 15 feet up? Now give me a ladder that goes up to there enough to do that.
Right.
Not happening. So just shut up. Just leave us alone.
Right. Yeah, because I've seen a swing myself the last probably 10 years, I guess, of more places having full safety on like a scissor lift. So not talking about a JLG, right?
Yep.
But a 19-foot scissor lift. You got to be tied off in that harness, lanyard. Okay. Like, it's a little cumbersome, but it's not a crazy ask.
Right.
But then other places still don't give a shit. Like,
I'm on one of those job sites right now where I've got a 32-foot scissor lift. I'm not tying off inside that thing. Right. And they don't care. It's a scissor lift. It ain't going anywhere.
It's never even come up, right?
Right.
Like, honestly, if the thing goes, I don't want to be attached to it.
No. I don't either. Nope. Even, so everybody knows JLG, it's a brand. It's a bucket. The boom.
Yeah, the boom, yeah.
The boomless.
Yeah,
right.
if you're an apprentice or something, yeah, it's the one that looks like a tank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a JLG, right?
Yep.
But certainly, yeah, you'll have those sites where it's amazing how it seems like a big organization, just like the other general, and yet safety's like, like,
Right.
or if they get to know you, or you're a foreman,
Right.
where there's but that doesn't apply to you. Like, I've had foremen do it in front of me when I was talking to like not a foreman, but a general in front of me, where I was talking to him as the foreman, one of the foremen on the site, and had an apprentice or somebody, one of my crew, come up and he's like, "Hey man, like, where's your hard hat? Where's your safety vest?" And they look at me and I had none of it on. And he's like, literally like, "That doesn't affect him. That's different. Like, go get your PPE on, go back to work, whatever."
Oh, funny.
And I had to walk away. I had to be like, "Oh wait, no, you were going to ask me something before he yelled at you about that. Like, what was that first? And then you can go get your hard hat or whatever." Like, totally threw the kid off. Like,
Oh, funny.
right. But so other than the ladder thing, which I know is a bit of a tangent for me, because like I said, that's the 3 points of contact always drove me crazy.
Right.
What do you think are the real benefits of safety, other than the fact that it gets us home in one piece? And what are the real, if any, drawbacks of overly safe job sites? Not that overly, highly safety organized job sites.
Right. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. So one thing I've noticed, and I'm not splitting hairs here, for love of fucking God, people calm down before I say this. Union, non-union difference. There is a big difference on the safety side when talking about the two. Okay. So union versus non-union, that's where my division splits. That's where that true division makes a big difference. Is non-union, there's a lot less safety concerns. It's just get the job done. Get it done. I don't care how you do it. Get it done.
Now, see, I've always heard that, but I haven't spoke to anybody non-union. And I got a lot of friends who work in trades who aren't union, right? Who have ever had any like major safety complaints.
Right.
I always wondered if that was just a stigma that they had about non-union, like construction workers are all dirty, like, oh, non-union, they're always going to, like, they don't care about safety. Like, I'm sure people running those businesses, most of them still care about safety.
They still care about safety, but it's not as enforced. Now, when I was non-union, I was in a different state, right? But at the same time, dude, I've done so much more sketchy things non-union because I knew that if I said no, that I was going to get repercussions, right? Sure. Now I know where I'm at now with the union, where if there's something sketchy going on and you want me to do something that is unsafe, I can look at you and go, no, I ain't doing that. Get the right equipment. And it's about getting the right equipment.
Right. But as you just admitted, that was a long time ago. I'm not trying to say you're older, and then just mean, but that's in the past, right?
Yep. Now, a more recent experience I had. So just a few years ago, I was driving back home and it was nighttime and it was raining in the same state that I used to work in. I saw these poor guys at night in the rain on a scissor lift fixing a light signal for a traffic signal in an intersection with 0 barriers, 0 cones, and they were in the middle of the road during nighttime in the rain trying to fix the signal system. They were told just to get it done.
And then this was a non-union job, you're saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You knew that because you've worked in the area. Okay,
Yep.
Well, so you mean, again, but anecdotal stuff, right? Like,
right.
But that has always been the word, that non-union versus union. They care more about it if you're a unionized shop and all that. I still believe that there's other non-union businesses that definitely care about safety. But the bigger you are, the smaller you are. I mean, you're certainly unlikely to have someone organizing and administering the safety for your people if you have 10 people working in the shop.
Right, exactly. Let's see, there's a lot of politics involved with safety, though.
Right.
Because safety and having a safety director for a job, or in a shop, I strongly believe his job not only is it to make sure that things are done safely and properly and the guys have the right equipment and the right gear, and he's keeping them educated, but on the backside of that, as far as inside the company, he's there for an insurance reason, right?
Oh yes, certainly.
So they lower their insurance. They lower their I forget what the actual term is, but
yeah, there's like a calculation and it should be below. I actually completely agree with that one.
Yep. So they bring that down so they can get jobs, so they can bid work.
Yeah, that's right. I understand that does happen. Yeah,
that's part of that.
Right.
That politics side. They have a job to play.
Right. Oh yeah, and not even a matter of politics, just good business to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you can bid more jobs because you have a safer environment and that involves employing somebody who helps that to happen, great. Like, I want my company to get more work.
Right.
I'm sure everybody does. Like,
everybody does.
Yeah. So if you have to have somebody that's a little on your heels about it, I get that.
Yep.
I guess it's the smart thing to do from a business perspective, and it has the added benefit of bid more jobs and saving a few bucks probably.
Right.
Because if you have that stuff, I mean, you probably will have less accidents, which means less claims, which, I'm sure it's effective.
Absolutely. And safety directors get a lot of heat. And I think a lot of that problem, and going back to the beginning of the recording here, is the fact that there's a lot of pride involved, right? Nobody wants somebody coming up telling them how to do their job.
That's true.
When it's the safety director, shut up and listen to him. That's plain and simple.
Yeah, too many people take something like that as an annoyance or a slight against what they're doing, and not as just a reminder of, hey, by the way, don't do that because it has potential dangers.
Right.
A lot of people are very much like, fuck you. Like, I got shit to do. I don't have time to worry about that frayed cord or that piece of equipment that wasn't stored properly. Fuck off. Like,
yeah,
it's unfortunate that happens when the person's just trying to do their job too, right?
Right. And frankly, when it comes to safety and OSHA rules, I mean, okay, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here.
Sure.
Let's involve OSHA for a minute, right? OSHA is solely based, and a lot of their rules are solely based on the fact of people doing stupid shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And frankly, if you get called out by OSHA, there's a reason.
They probably didn't just luck onto that infraction.
Right.
Right. Yeah, they and I mean, speaking of taking a lot of heat, we joke a lot. OSHA this and OSHA that. I mean, OSHA's one of the major things keeping major accidents from happening all the time.
Right. Right. And because the construction trades, like, it's not a safe place.
No, there's inherent dangers that you try to minimize as much as possible with all these safety measures. Like, that's the whole point, eh?
Yeah. So somebody's got to be on top of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And a person who's interrupting your job is basically the only way to think about it at the time.
Yep.
You weren't thinking about spending the next whatever time to change that safety hazard that's there,
Yep.
which often are something simple, right?
Yep.
Take that cord out of service. Hey, there should be a toe kick on that rail. Things like that, right?
Something like that. Yep.
Which some of them, okay. It's the other cast of people where I was doing work off a scissor lift and I had one of my feet up on the bottom rail, not the mid rail, the little toe kick,
Yep.
to take the pressure off my back because I've been drilling on the goddamn ceiling all morning, and then come down and having to give me heat for that. You got to have both feet in the man. That's not going to cause me to fall out of that thing. Like,
Right. It's 4 inches. Shut
Right.
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's that sort of petty stuff, and there's enough of those that you can just look at them now and in your head go, well, I'm not listening to anything you say because you're worried about a bunch of petty, stupid shit.
Right.
When you still got to listen to people, right? But
Right.
that is how people's brains will go. I think it's how mine goes. Maybe I shouldn't speak for everybody.
Dude, no. And it's, you're 100% right. How many times because I've been in that same scenario, I took it a different way where I'd get back up in the lift and I'd go back up and I'd stand on the mid rail at that point, 1 foot on each side of the corner, and just be like, here, is this better? Don't do that.
I would never consider standing on any rail in any scissor lift ever.
Ever.
Never, ever would I do that.
or God, we've done stupid shit.
Well, and we were talking earlier, because that's why I asked you when you were talking about the guys working out in the rain and all that, right? Even when I was an apprentice, things were different than they are now because we did a lot more work as electricians hot.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure lots of companies this way. The one I work for now has a very good standard of how to deal with that, and it's as little as possible, if not ever. Like,
Yep.
right? No hot work. That certainly took some of the stress out of the day for a lot of people.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's, just from our perspective, that's good. But I've seen lots of the other trades between plumbers and 49ers and people down in holes and confined work and hot work. Like, those things are good. Like, someone would start something on fire.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Grinding inadvertently.
Yep.
Grinding steel stud over here, right? And there happened to be a pile of sawdust over there or some chemical. Like, it would get pretty, it'd be the Wild West pretty fast without
Oh, it definitely would
some
be.
safety, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, I think our biggest problem that we have is complacency. Right.
Oh, sure.
We all get super complacent.
yeah.
Like, we do the same thing over and over and over again. It's all like, oh, yeah, no, I don't need to really worry about that until you have to worry about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's our biggest problem we have in the trades. And it's across the board. It's with everybody. Concrete guys, framers, stuff like that. We all get complacent. How many times, does a framer run a circular saw? And then that one time he doesn't get his hand out of the way. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, getting in the rhythm of things and not paying attention, that certainly could be a deal too.
Right.
But again, that's why we have the safety out there, I guess. I know we all want to complain about it all the time. Have you seen any really unsafe things?
Really
I
unsafe?
mean, we're in the trades. You have. Tell me about a really unsafe thing you've seen.
Oh, besides the guy in the night in the rain working on a traffic signal in the middle of the intersection with people can't see him.
Yeah, that one's not good.
That one
Was that guy by himself in a bucket truck?
in a scissor lift.
Oh,
Not
so
even
you
a bucket
you
truck.
said scissors. But was he by himself?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, with no barrier.
What if something happened? Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
Picturing that in my head now. I didn't take it for all it was worth the first time. Anyway, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ooh. Have I seen something super dangerous?
Well, while you're thinking about it here, I'll give you mine.
Yeah,
jogging
give me
memory.
yours.
The one that I think about. What I did was not super dangerous, I thought at the time, but early in my career at one of the airports, putting stickers on pipe. Well, the ceiling was high enough that I was on a 10-foot ladder and I couldn't reach the pipes. So my first day at that site, I'm standing up on the top of that ladder so I can reach that pipe on dirt floor now. Nothing concrete or anything yet. And I see a flash. And I look over towards the door, and there's a guy taking my photo with like a camera. It was a camera back then, right? Digital camera. I get into break time. Yeah, that guy was like the safety officer or whatever for the airport we were at.
Oh, no.
And he goes, so, hey, you know you're not allowed to do that, right? He didn't try to browbeat me or quote regulations or whatever. He knew and I knew. He's like, I got you, right? I got you red-handed. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I figured that was my first and last day at that site.
Yep.
So anyways, the guy talked to my foreman for a few minutes, came back over, and he's like, listen, he's like, why don't we call this a wash? Because my flash could have potentially spooked you and you might have fallen off the ladder, and then that would have been my problem. Or my problem, pardon me. So he's like, why don't you never do that again, and we'll call this one fair. I'm like, that sounds real good to me.
Okay.
He walks away. Foreman just gives me the nod, like, dodged a bullet there, son, you know, like, fuck.
Right.
Like, he would have had to deal with that.
Right.
What are you doing letting that apprentice who just showed up stay at the top of a big tall ladder? Like, so.
You know, if we go on the subject of what dangerous things I've done and not just seen, because I've seen a lot, it's hard to dial in on anything.
Sure.
I used to be a service tech back home,
Yep.
non-union. I used to be the guy that changed house panels, you know, gave them upgrades. Right. I was on top of roofs cutting the unfused primary loose. I would cut them with my linemans that I taped up with electrical tape, made sure that everything was good. Then I'd tape up my knife. I'd strip one out while it's hot, and I'd hook my temporary power to it so I had power to do my job, you know? And so I'm working with unfused live conductors, you know, on the power utility side that could have easily just put me to an early grave.
Yes, there's murder in that job.
Yep.
Sure. If you mess that up, that can kill you for sure.
Standing on the edge of the roof, cutting this thing loose, and then having to hold it while that weight, when I undo it from the mast, and that weight pulls over. Yeah. I mean, that's stupidity right then and there.
Yeah, there's no need of doing that stuff.
But that is how it was done,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
right? I did tens of them. I probably, in that short period of time, it was 4 years with the one shop, I probably did 20, 30 of them. You know?
And see, and I can't imagine that I'm sure people are doing that every day still.
Every day.
Right.
Every day. A utility company didn't care. Inspectors didn't care. Like, it just is what it is. Then I'd drag that live conductor back up to the roof and I'd hook it back up to the mast when I was done. I wouldn't hook it up. The power company would come hook it up.
Right.
But I'd be dragging that live wire around, you know? Yeah.
Does not sound promising, man.
Oh,
No, I think the sketchiest thing I ever saw, probably, fellas were pulling an underground, like an underground pipe with the ditch witch to get data and power from one side of a road to another.
yep.
Right. No marking, nobody spotting for him, none of that. Hits the gas main, which obviously must have been damaged or cracked or whatever. You could hear it coming out of the ground.
Yep.
And literally, like, I didn't know what was happening. It wasn't even my job site. I happened to be there for some other reason. Fire department right close at hand. Fire department guy walks right over. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Had nothing to do with me. Like, I think it's something to do with that piece of equipment over there." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, just so you know, I'd put that cigarette out if I were you."
Oh, no.
And he's like, "The wind's blowing in this direction. That's natural gas, buddy. Like, put that out." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he walked over pretty casual.
Right.
In retrospect, I'm surprised he didn't run over screaming, "Hey, put that fucking cigarette out!" Right?
You have to get to so many parts per million before it.
Oh, and then see that's the thing. That guy's a professional. He knew or whatever.
Right.
Hence why he just casually struck over. Had a conversation first to make sure it wasn't me. I wasn't standing over a busted gas main or something. But yeah, that guy working with no spotter, like high wind day, like that's that sort of thing. And it was early in the morning. The sun hadn't come up yet. Like, so I mean, what are you doing? Like,
I've accidentally ripped a gas main in half with an excavator. I have done that. That was not a good day.
just shit your pants a little, like
I
hoping it
coulda
wasn't going to blow, right? Like,
I could have shit a diamond.
I would have. I'd be worried, like a little spark. Like, do I want to even pull my bucket back?
Right. No, I don't think I've ever shut off that Mini-X so fast in my life and got off of it.
No.
Like bucket down, blade down, shut off, done, like out in under a minute.
Right.
Yeah. And Yeah. Side story on this a little bit. Our local gas company here, I wanted to call retards that day because 2-inch main gas line to a building, roaring like a freight train. We're standing 75 yards away from the building, and you can hear it clear as day what's going on. It's all blowing in one certain direction, to the east, we'll call it. I made the phone calls to the fire department. I made the phone calls to the gas company. Fire marshal shows up, the chief fire guy shows up. His team rolls up. They go in the building, do their sniff tests, make sure that nothing's bad in the building because power's still on in the building, right? They don't want the building blowing up, so they have to go in and check it. Gas company shows up 45 minutes later, the first guy. 45 minutes after it happened, the first guy walks up, and he's got a little sniffer in his hand, a little meter. He parks in where the gas line is blowing to. He parks there, walks up to me, and says, "What's going on?" As I'm going, "You can hear it from here. I ripped the gas line in two."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I've got to call somebody."
Yeah. I already did that, man. That's when you showed up.
Exactly. Another guy walks up with the same piece of equipment 10 minutes later, and they're like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Are you guys serious?" So they walk up, do their thing, come back. "We got to call in our street crew to fix it." Really? The phone call to your dispatch didn't tell them that I just ripped the 2-inch gas main in half? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
You should have sent them out first.
Yeah.
Give them credit. I've never seen 3 guys dig a 3-foot hole so fast in my life.
Oh, yeah, when they get after it. I've seen that too, yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, those road crew guys, when they got to get down there, they'll get after it.
Yeah, they dug it by hand, not a piece of equipment, by hand.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah, you forget all those shutoffs aren't like above ground all over the place, right? We have one in every corner like fire hydrants if that was the case, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, you got to dig those up most of the time. Like, yeah, that's a nightmare.
Right.
And it's never, well, I shouldn't say never. It's very often not in nice weather.
No.
That sort of thing happens with, construction accidents and the weather sucks or it's cold or whatever. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Nope, that's my rant about our gas company. They're a bunch of dipshits.
Well, there you go. If you want to argue back and say the gas company is great, you work for the gas company, hit us up.
Yep.
I got no opinion on that particular matter.
Let's circle back around to the whole safety thing, shall we?
Right. Well, that's what we were talking about today. So make sure everybody you send us your safety stuff because we will always come back to all these things, especially if we got some funny stuff or some good pictures of some terrible safety things. Because I know you'll send us stuff from your sites because we all seen the stuff in the internet. John and I were just talking to, a video of a guy trying to roll I don't even know what you call it, a steamroller onto a little boat, basically. Like I wouldn't have loaded a bicycle onto it. End up, obviously, they knock it in the water. Saw a great one from Russia that everybody should look up. We'll put it in the show notes of a scaffolding that was 6 stories up the side of the building, and one corner was shored up with like round stones. In Russia. Like,
yeah, that's
you know
awesome.
what I mean? Like you're at a Yellowstone National Park, they make those little men or whatever. It was like that. That was a corner of this like 6-story scaffold. It was unbelievable.
Right.
But that's why we should feel fortunate, I guess, that we've got good safety here because we've all seen other places where the rules just aren't there.
Oh, yeah, it's a Wild West, like you say. That's a perfect term for it. It's just, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's such it happens so much and so often. It's an easy rabbit hole to go down on the internet so fast, right? Type in, like third world safety videos.
Oh, yeah.
You won't be able to watch them all.
Nope. No. It's a train wreck.
Yeah. Sometimes literally. Like,
Yeah, literally. But yeah, no, I think people forget how important the safety factor is. It's really easy to because we get inconvenienced by it. At the end of the day, it's not that big of an inconvenience to make sure you go home alive.
I would certainly hope everybody feels that way. It's the Russian, though, too. Like the schedule. It always comes back to the schedule. If you're short in the schedule, you're either working harder, faster, or longer, sometimes both.
Yep.
All of those things lead to distraction, fatigue.
Yep. Complacency. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you never have something accidental happen when you're focused and bright-eyed and paying attention.
No. Nope. What is the saying that no accident is ever accidental?
I don't know. Is that the saying?
Or no injury?
If that's it, it's a terrible saying.
Yeah, or no injury is ever accidental. It really isn't, if you think about it.
Yes, if you get right down to it, that's true. But that's simple too, because now again, with all the moving parts on a construction site,
Right.
that guy might have thought driving that piece of equipment through there was just fine right then, and that apprentice happened to be walking by with their safety vest on like they were supposed to in the proper spot, and worlds collide.
Yep.
So
Yep. Shit happens. Granted, we're human. We're going to screw something up.
yeah, this is to limit that stuff from happening, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to at least try. And I think that's why it's so important for everybody to realize and remember that it's not just a safety director's job to make sure that you're safe. It's not just the foreman to make sure that everybody's doing their job. Everybody has to be looking out for everybody.
For sure.
That's across trades, right? Electricians, plumbers, tinners. We have to look out for each other. Be like, hey man, and don't feel bad. Don't ever feel bad to walk up to a guy and be like, hey homie, you might want to tie off.
Yeah.
Or hey, you know what? Don't hold that bore across your leg while you're running a circular saw on it. That's a bad idea, dude.
Yeah, and lots of people don't. We've talked about before. People don't like to hear how to do their job.
Nope.
Especially from a couple electricians. Like,
Oh yeah. No.
I'm sure other trades talk shit about us, like, how I can believe electricians always coming around giving advice or whatever. Like, if I see you doing something that's inherently unsafe, at least then I could say, hey man, I tried to tell you. Not to get I told you so, but
Yeah. But that's more about my conscience. I mean, honestly.
yeah, sure. Right.
Like, be like, no, I fucking told him. My conscience is clean. I'm going to sleep tonight.
Right. Yeah. I only want to be able to say that if asked.
Yeah.
I don't want it for an I told you so, because you don't want nobody to get hurt and have an I told you so. That's not good.
No.
But yeah, for my own conscience, I know I tried to tell him.
Yep. Yep.
Stop pointing that laser in your eye, dummy. What are you doing?
Right.
Remember they used to give you glasses for that? Go off on a little tangent here.
Oh, yeah.
You used to get a laser and you used to come with the little glasses that were supposed to protect you, and still had the big sticker, don't look direct.
Yep.
They don't come with that little filter or sticker or anything anymore. Like,
No.
do lasers not hurt your eyes anymore, or do they just not care anymore?
They just don't care.
Like, that could be a case where they tried that so long and nobody was ever wearing those.
No.
That they're just like, well, why are we putting those in there?
Did you ever take it out of the case? I never did.
No. I never took those glasses.
I didn't look in the laser.
There's also that.
The biggest thing I get is, on that tangent is like ceiling guys when they're putting their grid up, God bless them. Most of the ceiling guys I know are cool, but yeah, I still got to do work up there. And I'm usually always hanging lights or doing whips.
Right at the level of their laser for
Yep.
the...
Every time.
Every
It's
time.
just like, dude, so you have to come up a step or down a step.
Right. Yeah, I always used to say it seems impossible that it happens like almost every time. And then I realized, well, I'm the same height and the ceilings are often the same height. I'm using the same size ladder. So yeah, it's probably going to happen fucking all the time. Like,
Every single time.
yeah. But again, like, nobody's walking around saying, hey, is there a sign up, laser in use? Like,
Yeah.
that was a safety thing that just sort of like went away, right?
Right. Every now and then you see it.
Right.
But you know what? The last time on the job that I saw, it was on the front door when everybody was walking in the building. It was there.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't anywhere else.
Yeah, general notice.
Yeah.
Hey, we had it posted
Yeah. It's posted. It's downstairs.
Right in the
We're
entry-
up on the 8th floor, but
right in
it's
the entry
downstairs.
door, man. Yeah. We're not to blame for that. We told you there was going to be a laser in use here. We just didn't specify where, when, or how long.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. We've all been there. And when there's competing ones too, I love the competing lasers. Two guys looking for two different heights. So let's say a fellow putting up, acoustical guy putting up a ceiling grid. And then you got a framer trying to get a little knee wall or something just to the right position that's sort of floating out in the real world or whatever.
Yep.
I laugh every time because one of them will move theirs, and if they're the same color, you'll see the guy go to change his and you realize that wasn't the laser that was on his thing. I love watching it, man.
Right.
It's like watching a couple of gorillas in the wild trying to figure out what's going on. Like, wait, what? How did that happen? No, I thought this was good. It's like,
Right.
oh, I love it. All right, another dead spot there. Podcaster apprentices. Remember, folks, we don't always have the exact thing ready to go for the next statement. But yeah, so on the note of the out of country stuff, man, I recall watching people building a wharf. I think it was the Dominican Republic. Guy stepping from one pylon to the next with a couple of like 2x12s over his shoulder, and big steps like out over the water, that if he had hit the water, wasn't enough water that he'd just stop. Like it was, shallow enough that he would have got hurt or whatever. And they're building the wharf way out. The guy stepped from pylon to pylon to pylon just to set the two of them down, nail them in place, and walk back again. No setting out like a ramp or anything. No trying to, nope. Carry that out there and start there and come in this way. Like building it from the wrong way, even. Yeah, the guy I was with, him and I spent actually like a better part of that afternoon drunk trying to figure out why they wanted them to even do that. But there's a million times you'll see stuff like that, right?
They couldn't build it from the shore out.
Yeah, that's what we were asking. Like, why is that guy even coming in that direction? They must have had some rationale. I don't know if they were using nicer wood or different wood on the outset or whatever it was. But yeah, that guy was walking out like 5 and 6 pylons just to nail the next row down. And I can't imagine.
No.
Right. Even just make one pathway out from pylon to pylon and walk out it. Like, nah, just get it done. Just get it done. Like,
Yeah. I've heard that too many times. Just get it done. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's just a horrible saying to have.
oh, and in places where they're just happy to get it done and have the work and don't have safety equipment or don't have
Right.
sketchy shit. Like, if you see anything great or you find anything on the internet, send it to us because we want to put this stuff up there.
Yeah.
You see some really wild stuff like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
cranes. Every crane video that I see coming across my feed is, I mean, half of them are just disastrously scary. What are they doing? Like one giant crane holding an excavator in the air against the side of like a hill or a mountain to excavate. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Like, who says yes to that? Sorry, our apprentices aren't happy about the work we got assigned to them today. You can hear them yelling in the background. We're sorry.
My bad.
Digging a hole in a circle. Nobody loves that.
No. I don't know who would say yes to that. I mean, there's got to be a situation. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know how hard up you got to be to make that paycheck.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like they must be either paying surprisingly well for the area that these things go down in,
Right.
or people are so desperate for work
Right.
that there's exactly what safety brings is security and not doing crazy shit
Yeah.
because there's so much of it going on other places, man.
Yeah. And they don't have the rules that we do. I mean, let's just face it. Like, they don't have the regulations that we do in most places.
Certainly not.
And count your blessings for being in the country we're in. But
Yeah, a place that gives you shit.
yeah, but at the same time, like, oh, there's so many different sides of the token, right? When I say it at the same time, we have our regulations, but we bitch about our regulations, right? Hey, let's take a minute, humble ourselves a little bit, and be happy we're not the guy in the crane or in the excavator on the side of a hill being held up by a crane,
Right.
having to do our job.
Yeah, we can definitely complain all we want. And that also is like, it's such a personal thing with everybody because it's in your head, right? It's your particular line in the sand. Of course, safety is important when it comes up, but not once you pass this mark in my head. So with me, it's like the 3 point of the ladder thing, right?
Right.
Somebody else's might be different. That's where it gets important,
Yep.
right? Your safety might be do everything hot, go up in every lift you want. Don't worry about tying off to anything. No, that ladder is fine. 40 feet in the air on that extension. Don't worry about it. Just drilling.
Yep.
If your line is there and that's what you make people do, so there obviously was people that did work like that here
Oh, yeah.
before some of the safety stuff came in.
Oh,
So
it absolutely was.
I am happy it's there. I don't, obviously we don't love it all. Like a hard hat in a finished room seems ridiculous to me.
Yep, that's stupid.
Safety vest indoors with no heavy equipment moving around
That's
seems
stupid.
a little ridiculous, right? Like, but again, if to get paid this week means that I got to wear a hard hat and a safety vest, okay.
Yeah, right.
Like this is just a chance for all of us to talk amongst ourselves and bitch about it because we will. And I'll still continue to bitch about it in the future when I think something is unnecessarily safety oriented. But
Oh, 100%.
at the end of the day, is that the hill you want to die on? Putting a safety vest on?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Wearing steel toe boots. Like apprentices, buy nice boots. Don't buy crappy boots at Walmart
nice
with a
boots.
steel toe, a sneaker looking thing. Buy boots.
Buy boots.
Ankle support. Right. Buy good steel toe boots.
And don't be afraid to freaking get yourself a good pair of knee pads.
Yeah.
Don't destroy your knees for this shit.
Spend. Yeah. There's part of safety that people don't often talk about. Yeah, get the proper clothes to do your job, the proper tools, the proper tool belts. Don't break your back the rest of your life. You're going to do that enough working.
Right.
Don't do it carrying your tool bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, take care of yourself. So the only other thing that I was thinking about as far as the safety bit goes is how far have you seen OSHA go or some like, have you seen anybody who got canned because of safety? Have you seen anybody get fined
I've seen guys that get fined
from OSHA?
from OSHA
Okay.
doing something blatantly wrong.
Yeah, it's something obvious.
Right. I mean, the brickies were standing on a pallet that was attached to a lull up 25 feet in the air, putting the top brick on. And OSHA was sitting in the parking lot watching them and recording them.
Man,
You just...
that's on you, block layer, if you did that.
That's on you, Bricky. That's how that works.
That's not good.
And so, yeah, they were definitely fined that day. I watched them get their fine.
That's rough.
And they were not happy about it. But you know what? That's the chance that you roll.
Yeah, and I mean, we both know from being on job sites, and God love both the trades. Framers, the guys doing the brick, the iron workers, the steel workers, but they seem to be in treacherous positions a little more often just from the nature of their job sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, we have that occasionally, but not to the extent that those trades do.
Right.
Should they be given a little leeway? Are they given a little leeway? Or are they more closely scrutinized?
I don't know. That's a great question. I'd like to be able to talk to somebody and see if that's actually the fact. Is OSHA called out on them more than anybody else?
Yeah, like people that are doing more often the framework of a building, the exterior and the roof and whatnot.
The skeletal side.
Yeah, hit us up and let us know. Like, are they out there harassing you all the time, or do you hardly ever see them? Right. Like, is your company just safety oriented so you don't have to worry about it? Like, give us some ideas of what's going on out there.
Yep, for sure.
Well, buddy, unless you got anything else about safety.
Just to end on a note that I think needs to be said, but maybe not reminded to everybody, is just try to go home the same condition you went to work in.
That would be ideal.
You got people at home waiting for you.
God love Johnny has serious notes all the time because he has a family and people he cares about.
Well, it happens.
I have my wife, and let's be honest, she might be better off. No, that's not true. I don't mean that. I'm just joking around.
I mean, I'm worth more dead than I am alive, so I guess there's that.
I'm specifically making sure I'm worth more alive, so there's no temptation at all. Like, I wake up groggy-eyed. She could trick me anytime. Like, right? She's smarter than me. If she wanted to poison me or something, she'd have no trouble.
Right.
No, I want to be even more valuable alive.
Right.
Well, I appreciate everybody listening again, and hit us up with your safety stuff, or anything at all for that matter. We really are hinging on this podcast of all you interacting with us. So you can DM us or hit us up on our Instagram at ISawPodcast. You can check out the website. It's isawpodcast.com. There is a link there so that you can get set up, be on our mailing list, for us to let you know when episodes are coming out or any events or anything that's going on. That's where it'll all be. And then obviously you can send us any of your stories, pictures, comments, whatever, email at isawpodcast@gmail.com. Anything I'm forgetting, John?
Nope, you hit everything that I was thinking about.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening to our disjointed conversation today, but as we'll keep reminding you, we're just getting started at this, so hopefully we'll be a little more organized, a little more direction-oriented later. But for right now, we're just learning. So thank you all for listening, and remember, until next week, that your work keeps the world working. Thank you.
Amen. Sláinte.
Sláinte, buddy.